Is a pot seller. How did I become a pot seller? I'm sure that's what you want to know. You guys, 6 years ago, I wasn't selling pots. In fact, I had come back to Nigeria. Well, I came back to Nigeria in 2014 looking for what to do. I just knew that I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to work for anyone. I didn't want to answer to anyone in any professional environment. So I came back all ready to work. The only work for me then was to join my family's business, my husband's business. At the time, I was going to Lagos Island, Balogun. A lot of my Instagram people, they know me from Balogun Market because that is where I started off learning about business from my mother-in-law, who was or is till now the best entrepreneur I have ever laid my eyes on. Like, as a woman, that woman is, I wish she was born in the Facebook era where people, or internet era, where people could learn from entrepreneurs, because she is a gold mine. You guys, everything I know, well, I wouldn't say everything, 90% of what I know about business, because of course you have to learn on the job, I learned from my husband and my mother-in-law. So you see, I'm always very happy when, you know, people refer to me as trader, seller, what other derogatory word people like to use? Daddy, what other derogatory word do you think people use to describe business people?
Pot seller. Traders.
Traders. In Nigeria, they say,
Omo Igbo.
Trader.
Omo Igbo.
As you see me here, I am proud. I am proud. So, do you know what they call proud? Because I would have been in England, in the UK. I lived in the UK. I'd have been somewhere in Newcastle working as maybe a band 7 registered nurse in the NHS, doing maybe 60K after taxes per annum with the best of jobs. I would have stayed there with my children. They would have gotten a very nice, cute British accent, you know. But I knew that I wanted more. I knew that I wanted to be fulfilled. I knew that, you know, I just wanted to do more with my life. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the history so you guys don't think, how did she just stumble into selling pots? You know, when people say that, they sort of like try to refer to people in the market that have no degrees, no, I wouldn't say experience, because really there's a lot of things to learn from women in the market. I would say the best business school really is to go into the market and see how the people that we look down on, the so-called market women, how they manage to stay afloat, how they carry their businesses on their heads, how they make sure that they overcome every challenge that they face. To me, that's business school by itself. No business school would teach you that. And I'm telling you that I learned from the best in the thick of it, in the middle of the market. And that is how that's why I'm proud. You know, when someone says, when someone tried to come into my comment section this morning and say, look at the pot seller. I'm like, do you want me to feel bad for being a pot seller? It's like Dangote saying, somebody calling Dangote cement seller, and he'll not go and start crying, hey, they call me cement seller. That's a billionaire. You want to shame a billionaire for selling cement? So it's like, oh, because they're selling something that people use to build houses, they call you cement seller. Then you'll not be like, that's a trader. That's a thing of pride. And I'm so happy because it's like, oh my God, what is all this business publicity? Do you know that since that thing happened, Radiance Cookware website has been buzzing? Even people, of course, people abroad are the ones that are wanting to buy it. I'm so sorry, you guys, that I can't ship to you, but I'm very grateful for the exposure, really, because that's something that people pay for, really. It's advertisements, and I'm very proud of it. It's like, pot seller, what is wrong with that? That's my new name going forward, but I just want to tell you how it started, though. I was trying to Google. There's a brand. I sell cast iron pots, okay? My name is Nancy Ume. For those of you joining my live, you don't know who this is. Someone says beautiful pot seller. Okay. Nancy Ume here. I didn't just start selling pots just like that. something happened to me that made me start to look for healthy pots, and eventually I stumbled on cast iron, and that's how I eventually started to sell them. So some of you don't know my health history, so I'll try and like summarize. When I came back to Nigeria, while I was still living in the UK, I used to have a lot of, you know, issues with my health. So I would have what they call flare-ups. Some of you that experience it, you understand what I mean. Autoimmune flare-ups come when you have series of attacks back to back. Asthmatic attacks, you could have your hair falling out. You guys, it was so terrible. Let me see if I can find some pictures for you guys. My hair used to fall out just like that. In fact, I had to cut my hair in the UK because of this. It was so bad. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, so this is me. I would just stay, and then my hair will start to fall off. I had what they call psoriasis. My skin will start to flake, and then I would be very, very sick. And then I noticed that the sicknesses would get worse, or all these symptoms that I'm describing, they would get worse whenever I cooked with my then non-stick pots, okay? So I would make steak, for example, where I had to cook on low heat, and I would fry. I had a Teflon, or what do they call that brand? Tefan, is it? It was those really nice, expensive non-stick pans they used to sell. So I bought the whole set in Nigeria. I would cook steak because I used to love eating steak, and then it will smoke. And after that, oh my God, I would feel like I was choking in the kitchen. There was a time I actually almost passed out in the kitchen. It was bad. I ended up in the hospital. I had back-to-back asthma attacks that week. I would never forget. So it happened. It was happening. I was like, why is it that every time I cook with my non-stick pots, I would fall sick? So I noticed the pattern, and I was like, okay, I have to look into this. So I noticed that my pot could be a problem. So I had my pots reviewed. I started reading about that because I was like, it's like, oh, thank you, Tefal. Yes, that was the brand I had. You know, the pan with the red thing in the middle, that non-stick pan. Yes, every time I cooked with that pan, I would pass out, like literally pass out on high heat, because I used to, you know, sear a lot of steak. So I noticed that I had what they call Teflon poisoning or Teflon flu. So this is a phenomenon that happens where you expose yourself to the chemical that is used to make non-stick pans. It is not exactly healthy. It's PFOA, so it's a chemical that you should avoid at all costs, especially if you are predisposed to having this Teflon flu that I'm talking about. I used to have it all the time. I was very grateful that I found out the pattern, that I actually noted the pattern, because as soon as I did note the pattern, I started avoiding using that pan. And then I noticed that, oh my God, I'm not having this pass out feeling I used to have, you know. And I was like, okay, there's something there. So I started reading. As a healthcare professional, I was very curious, okay? So I started reading a lot about pots and how important pots are. Safety of pots, how it is so important that the food you eat is not enough. The pots that you use to cook the food actually is more important than the food itself, because you can have toxic free food, or your food can be organic and all that, but then when you cook it in a pot that is toxic, it's like there's no point. Okay, so that's what was happening to me. I was cooking my so-called healthy meals in unhealthy pots, and I was falling sick back to back to back. So I started reading about safe cookwares. In the world right now, we have 7 types of safe cookwares. Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. I sell cast iron, which is one of the safe materials that you can use for pots. Okay, well, cast iron is number 1. We have what they call stainless steel. If you happen to have stainless steel that is original, which is the one that has, you know, the ratio of 8 and 10, nickel and chromium ratio at the bottom of the pot. The heavy ones, the heavy bottom stainless steel ones, those are original. then those are safe. We have titanium, we have glass, we have lead and cadmium free ceramic. I'm just telling you the options that you have if you want to have safe cookwares, okay? We have clay, and those have to be lead and cadmium safe as well. We also have this green pots, these new generation green pans that people have going on. The caraway, these new generation green pans, they are non-stick, however, they do not have the Teflon coating on them. However, the research is currently showing that, even when you coat your pans with these alternative sources, they're not really safe per se, but they're still on the list of safe cookwares, right? So I discovered that there were 7 types of safe cookwares. I started testing, buying and buying. Eventually, I bought my first set of titanium, very expensive, and I started using it. I discovered that this was not conducting heat the way I wanted. My food was burning on one side. It was not giving me, and I was planning to become a chef at the time, so it wasn't giving me what I wanted. I felt a little bit like I was cheated because I did spend a lot of money buying titanium, and I said, okay, let me try other safe cookwares. So I stumbled on cast iron. I got my very first cast iron pan, and when I did, you guys, oh my gosh, I was like, wait, what? I seared steak on a bare cast iron skillet, and my life never remained the same. It was so amazing. It was fantastic. It conducted the heat so well. It was heavy. It made my food taste delicious, and that was when I fell in love with cast iron. So I started cooking on my Instagram stories as always, and my followers were like, my friends were like, Nancy, all these your delicacies you're cooking, how far? This your pan is fine, oh, this your pot is fine. I was like, you guys, really? And then they were like, okay, how far? Tell me, where can I get it? And I was like, there's a market here. And people started saying, okay, I want to buy from you because I don't know where to buy. And I was like, okay. And that is where I went into full-blown product research. Like, I found out every single thing you need to know about cast iron. I traveled, you know what they call traveled? I traveled and visited every single factory there is, until I found out everything I could possibly understand about these cookwares. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this to Nigeria. Do you know that Radiance Cookware is the first ever cast iron brand in Nigeria, registered by the Standard Organization of Nigeria? Do you know that? It is the first safe cast iron brand in Nigeria, and I am so proud. Like, if you call me pot seller, you guys, do you know the work and the hard work that has gone into this, and why you should be proud of everything that you have achieved in life? You don't have to. Let people call it pride. Let people call it whatever, but you should be proud